Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel of the Challenger. So really nice feel. We've got a few different styles, like as we start to move down, like look at this. So it's got like more of a flat bottom to it as well. So we've got a few different options for the actual steering wheel itself. It's going to depend on which version of the Challenger that you're in, but it looks really nice. So this is going to be a full walk around explaining everything, how all of the different buttons work. But one thing to point out first and foremost, this one just has regular cruise control. So we can toggle the cruise control system on off there and then increase, decrease as necessary. We do have the option for the adaptive cruise control, which would take place of these empty buttons there. So that is available as an option from the factory. It's just that this one doesn't have that package, but it is available there. So if you want that package, just make sure you order it from the factory. It'll have all the details popping up, but it's going to be something different across the entire Challenger lineup. Now, other things to point out. Firstly, the steering wheel itself is very comfortable, and we do also have a heated steering wheel as an option here. So it's, again, depending on the trim level of the vehicle that you're in, but if we move over to the side there, so we go to our climate, we've got a ton of options there, but we go to our controls, we have our heated steering wheel as an option, heated ventilated seats as well. So if you want to toggle the heated steering wheel on, that's where we're going in order to make it happen, and it's wrapped all the way around, and it is really nice. Now this one is the obviously 8-speed automatic transmission because we've got our paddle shifters there. If you were in the manual, you obviously just wouldn't have the paddle shifters there whatsoever, but you can make it out. So we've got a stick on the left-hand side, and that's going to let us control our front windshield wipers there. And we also obviously can flash at our high beams and things like that using that stick. So it's very straightforward. Now one thing, behind the steering wheel, so just underneath our paddle shifters, we've got a few other buttons there. So along the left-hand side, that's going to let us seek between different stations. So we can kind of press up and down to seek that way if we'd like to. We can press the button in the middle if we want to jump between different presets as well. So I'm going to show you the media screen for a second there, and you can kind of see it going crazy as we press these buttons there. So it's going to let us seek out that way if we'd like to. So we can press the buttons there to seek out in behind the steering wheel if we want to. Versus on the right-hand side, that's going to be for our volume. So we can change it, we can increase, decrease the volume along the right-hand side. And then there's a button on the very middle of that one as well. We can push that in order to change between different sources. So AM, FM, Sirius XM. You've got a few different options for sources as well. So if you wanted to, you could have your Bluetooth connected for your phone. You've got a 3.5mm cable. If you were to use V-Stick with MP3s, they would all show up as available sources, and they would all be available as we switch through different sources using that button on the steering wheel there as well. But I do love it that it's so non-obtrusive, and just having it behind the wheel there, I just think is a brilliant idea. It's phenomenal. But looking at a few other things. So the steering wheel itself might be manual, might be power, again, depending on the version of the vehicle you're in. And if you've got a power telescoping, it's typically going to be tied into our memory there. So we can set up our steering wheel memory as well, which is fantastic. Now, a few other buttons to point out. Along the bottom left-hand side, we can either answer or hang up on a phone call. And this one is a voice command prompt. So we can push this button if we want to do things like change songs, radio stations. We can navigate using our voice if we had factory navigation, which this one doesn't, unfortunately, but it's available there as an option. But one of the cool things is that even if your screen doesn't have navigation, we can still hook up through Android or iPhone devices in order to use Google Maps, Apple Maps, or Waze. But if you want more of an in-depth understanding of how this screen works, check down in the description below. I've put together a fully comprehensive video on the screen. Now, one of the cool things is that if we are hooked up through either Android or iPhone devices, we can also do a longer press and hold in order to activate either our Google or our Siri assistant as well. So we just do a longer press and hold, and it would literally pull up either Siri or Google, so it's really straightforward there. Lastly is going to be this. So we've got a directional pad there, which is going to let us control and navigate what's going on with that cluster screen. So let me get this out of your way a teeny little bit. And all I'm going to do, I'm going left and right, up and down, and then we've got our generic OK button. So I'm going to zoom in a teeny little bit so you can see what's going on as we go here. And pop you up a little bit. But like I said, as I go, I'm just using the pad along the left-hand side there. So let's kind of focus you in a little bit more, and perfect. So what we're going to do, starting off along the top, you can see there we've got our speedometer, and we can change it out to miles per hour, kilometers per hour, just by pressing the OK button there. So very straightforward. Moving down brings us to our vehicle info. So you might be able to see it along the very bottom there. We've got a series of sub-pages now. So if we press the left and right arrow key, we can go between all of these different gauges. So we've got our coolant temperature, transmission, oil, different oil pressures, oil life, voltage, air intake. So as we start to give it a little bit of gas, you can kind of see that it's giving us a little bit of, well, it's kind of adjusting on the fly as we go there. So it's great that we've got those options for the gauges, and it does look fairly nice all at the same time. And then if we're changing out our oil ourselves, we can do a press and hold, so a long press, in order to be able to reset any of this other information as well. So essentially wherever it says hold OK, we've got the flexibility of either storing things, we can reset as well as necessary, just by pressing and holding the OK button. Moving down, a series of other options, as you can see there, our performance. You can see what's going on, so our different timers there. And that's really cool because we've got some base timers here. We've also got our performance pages that are available there as well. So we just hit that button. We'll come back to it in a second as it launches up, but it is really cool. Oh, there we go. It's launched up. So we can see exactly what's going on there as well. So we've got a few different base performance, and then we've got our more advanced ones right through that media screen as well. But really useful. So if you're taking this thing on the track, you can see exactly what's going on with all your different track times and things like that. Really cool. We can see which wheel is getting which amount of force there. We can do reset for everything across the board. We've got our lap history as well. It is so cool. And from here, we've got our fuel economy. So a few different options there. So we've got our fuel economy 1 versus 2. If you wanted to reset that, all we're going to do, as always, press and hold. And as you can see, 50 liters per 100. Terrible. No, it's not the case. It's just because I'm parking explaining this as you can see it drop down to 14.9 there. But that's how you're going to go in order to be able to reset your fuel economy, your range, etc. It's going to show up along the top left-hand side, so you can see how much fuel you've got left and how far you're going to be able to get based off of our current averages there. Moving down, we've got our trip info, so our trip A versus B counter. And as always, in order to reset, we just press and hold the OK button there, and that resets everything for us as well. Moving down again, we've got our audio. So audio, we can't do anything pressing left versus right, but as we go to adjust as necessary there, so either using the left or the right pads there, you can see that it's going to be, there we go, adjusting the audio out for us there instead. So you've got a few different options that are available to you there as well if you'd like. Dropping down one more, we've got our messages. So if there were any messages that were available for the vehicle, notifications, etc., it would let us know. Down, we've got the option of going into our screen setup. So screen setup, you can see we've got some options that are highlighting as we go. So we've got our, let's start off along the, let's go top left. So upper left, if we press OK there, we can have nothing. So you can see that disappearing. We can have it showing the outside temperature, time, range, etc. So you've got a ton of options that are available. And we've got the flexibility of adjusting out the upper left, the upper right. We can store everything to our defaults. We can show the current gear out if we want to. So I'm going to have that one show up. Odometer, we can either hide it, we can show it there as well. So again, so many different options that are available here. And it really is, it's kind of nice that we've got the flexibility. So along the very bottom in the middle, you can see that odometer show up or not. Our gear display, do we want to show just a single gear, or do we want to show all gears that are available there as we go? So as you can see, as we kind of adjust through gears there. And then this is a reverse sensing system. So available there is an option. So as we get closer to obstacles, it's going to start off green, and then it's going to go yellow, and then red if you're a teeny little bit too close. But it is nice that we've got that option available. And moving back, we've got the option now of adjusting what's going on in the middle there. So our center, we can have the digital speed up in the middle there, nothing. We can show the compass, outside temperature, and so many other things. So it is nice that we've got the option of at least customizing some small components of the screen. There aren't too many other manufacturers that allow that. So it is nice that it is available in the Dodge here. And then back, we've got our diagnostics there as well. So it is kind of nice. This is essentially going to be like an OBD2 reader kind of built right in, which is amazing. Like rather than having to hook up an OBD2, you can kind of see, and as you see there, nothing for diagnostic codes because this is a brand new vehicle. So there shouldn't be anything we have to worry about there. We've got our speed warning as well, so we can toggle that thing on off. And then the speed warning is if we hit a certain speed, we're going to get a warning letting us know we're going a little bit too fast. But we've got that flexibility of turning on or off, and then back to our speedometer again. But overall look, base styling there is fantastic. The overall look and the aesthetics of the cluster screen are going to be slightly different depending on which version of the vehicle you're in. So that was a quick look at the steering wheel and cluster inside of the 2022 Dodge Challenger. Not much change from the 21 model, but I do love the look, the layout, the aesthetics, and having all of the different buttons behind the steering wheel. I absolutely love it. But if you're in any problems, you need any clarification, drop down in the comment section below, let me know. More than willing to talk you through issues that you might be having. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your social networks, and until I see you next time, take care.